All right, we got about 4 seconds. Good morning. Excuse me. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Dr. King. I am the resident educator. You do. But you need to have your plan after high school. And this is going to help you determine, do I need a degree or do I just need a certification? And there's nothing wrong with having either one. A lot of people, think that they need to go off to college and get these, get the degrees and start these jobs when really all they needed was a certification. And yes, everything is predicated on finances. Degrees are expensive. They are. Sometimes a degree is not even what you necessarily need up front to get started in the career that you want. And so this is what we're going to discuss today. If you're thinking, so drinking my coffee, it's lunchtime. I've eaten breakfast already, so I'll do coffee with Coach Bree or coffee with Dr. King. How about that? So you graduated high school. You've gotten all the credits that you needed to graduate high school. And for many, starting their senior year, or for many, even their freshman year, but definitely, you need to definitely worry about your junior year. And that's a whole nother presentation, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you've thought about, what are my plans after I graduate high school? Because for many, your junior year is where all of that stuff is going to kick in. You need to start getting ready to apply for college, getting ready to apply for financial aid, getting ready to apply for scholarships. A lot of that starts the spring of your junior year, or the summer before your senior year, or in August of your upcoming senior year. So you kind of want to have a plan in place. So the first thing that you need to do is think about, what do I want to do? What is your career plan? Not just a job, career. And if you know me and you've watched my presentations, you already know have a career. Okay, let's be honest. Let's keep it real. Keep it 100. Whatever you want to say. The job title itself and where you work is not what determines whether or not you have a job or a career. It is the importance and the value that you place on that title and your job build, your abilities to complete your job description and your job duties, as to whether or not that is a job, which means just over broke, or a career. And a career is something that you develop over time. You promote. You are able to lead eventually others. Lead yourself. You grow. I get everything extrinsic, the paycheck, the house, the cars, the clothes, anything that's external rewards are extrinsic, have extrinsic value. Those are things that are acquired outside of your body. Intrinsic means it is solely within you. And I am an intrinsic person. So a career is something that is intrinsically developed. A a job is something, like I said, where you are just, getting money for a paycheck. their job, because they're getting nothing out of it. All they're doing is getting up, going to work, getting a paycheck, getting up, going to work, getting a paycheck, getting up, going to work, getting a paycheck, and it starts to eat on your soul. There's no intrinsic value in the job. A career has an intrinsic value to it. So when you start to determine what you want to do for a career, because that's where my focus is with you, you need to think about what are the educational requirement attainments for this job, or this career. I'm sorry, for this career. What do I need to acquire educationally to do this, the job description for this career that I have chosen? And for some, you too, $6 an hour with just that certification. Now, granted, if you want to do something else, you may need to acquire more education down the line, but you need to determine how much education do I need to get through the door for the industry that I want to work in. If you're a cosmetologist, cosmetology industry doesn't require a degree, but you do need to have a cosmetology certification. There are other things that you have to have, permits and things of that nature. But if you're a cosmetologist, what you need a certification. There is no degrees for cosmetology. Understand what I'm saying? What's coming up? Nothing to do with job titles. You can work as a plumber, you can work as a fry cook, you can work as a window washer and have a career. It's the value that you place on that job title and you doing your job abilities to the best of your abilities, your job duties to the best of your abilities. Okay. Folks, throat's a little raspy this afternoon. I apologize, allergies been acting up this week. But hold on, you guys, my list fell, and I don't want to. Oh, here it is. I was trying to figure out where it went. It fell on the floor. Okay, so now that you have figured that part out, then you say, once again, does that require, to get my foot through the door? Does it require me having a degree, or do I just need a certification? Because the certification is the bottom rung. So when you hear me say just, I'm not trying to be mean or, it's just this. No, there are certifications. You have an associate degree, bachelor's degree. Through the door. Now, once again, down the line, if you're looking to do other things, you may need to determine as to whether or not you may need to go on and get a degree, and that's fine as well. And we'll talk about return on investment in just a second. But you need to determine, what do I need educationally to get my foot in the door of that industry. And then you need to start to compare costs. So if you don't know if you need a certificate of a degree, then I suggest you work on a degree. Okay, the reason I don't say just go get a certificate, because you may spend money getting a certificate and find out that you actually needed a bachelor's, a minimum of a bachelor's. So if you don't know be cheaper than a bachelor's, okay, or an associate. Even though they're on the same level of associate degree, because it is a degree, may tend to be a little bit more. So, you need to determine the cost. What is the cost of this degree? What is the cost of the certification? How much time is it going to take to complete this certification? How much time is it going to take to complete this degree? And though a certification may be maybe that bottom level, it still may take some time to get it, depending on the industry that you're going into. The average for a certification is probably 2 years, anywhere from 2 to 4 years, and it just depends on what you're trying to get. But bachelor's degree, bottom line, minimum 4 years starting. A certification, 4 years may be the max. Bachelor's degree, 4 years is that's the average. Some may go a little bit longer depending on their goals, how serious they're taking going to school, and whether or not they have to work and go to school and things of that nature. So you're going to be 4 years for a bachelor's degree. Certification, bottom line, 2. It starts at 2, may end at 4. Bachelor's degree starts at 4, may go more depending on your life, what's going on with your life and everything. How much are you willing to invest in yourself? How much do you have? Some of that determines on what career you go into. Socioeconomic status, demographics, race, nationality. Doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter what your nationality, your race. None of of how far you'll go. And you want it to be yourself. The sky's the limit. Always say the sky's the limit and push yourself. When you are pushing yourself, you are trying, what you're going to do is determine who you are, what you're capable of handling, what you you're not going to deal with, and then you just grow as a person, you mature and things like that. But unfortunately, we do not live alone on this planet, and if you don't own your own business, allow you and help you to go forward unless you own your own company. Okay, so how much are you willing to invest in yourself? Do you only have enough to get a certification? If you need that bachelor's, what are you willing to do to get that bachelor's? Are you going to apply for financial aid? Are you going to try to work a job or two, go to mom and dad, ask for money, something? What are you willing to do to invest in yourself? Okay, when you start to gauge the return on investment in the education, and return on investment means you see some type of positive growth from the financial investment or the time resources. There are resources that you have invested, whether it's money, whether it's time. I went to school 4 years and I'm seeing something positive come for that. For many, that return on investment is going to equate to a salary, a job, not a job, salary, annual salary. I am tripping. And that says, hey, I went to school for 4 years to get this psychology degree, and now I'm working as a school counselor making $60,000. That may be a good return on investment. But if you went to school for 4 years, got a bachelor's in psychology, and you are now working as a DJ, that's not a good return on investment. And at the work on a degree that you really didn't want to begin with. A lot of times we tend to blame other things popped up about a decision about doing something. We didn't speak up for ourselves. You know, I hear people all the time, you know, degrees don't matter. You know, my cousin went to school, went to med school, and now he's a DJ. That's because your cousin didn't want to go to med school to begin with. It has nothing to do with the degree itself. Your cousin didn't want to be a doctor to begin with. He was trying to impress mom or dad or grandma or grandpa. So are we speaking of ourselves when we decide that we want to go to college or work on a career or choose a career to go into? Are you choosing that career for yourself, or are you choosing that career to impress mom, dad, or grandma, or something like that? So if you, you know, go to school and get a degree in computer science, and you find out that you really want to work in the hospitality industry, who did you get that computer science degree for? You didn't get it for yourself. Okay? And even if you have a family, you can't focus so much on, I have to go to school to make this amount of money because I have to take care of my family. You kind of do, but don't get yourself so cuckolded that you only see the salary and you don't see anything else, because now that career is now a job. Okay? Your decisions to say, hey, I just want to go to work so I can have money to pay for bills, you know, and take care of my kids, that is now where it becomes a job. Because when you work in a career and you're working hard on yourself, who have never done anything tell you what you should be doing with your life unless they understand the mistake that they made by not doing. Because we have people in our family, grandmas who, and grandfathers and parents who may not have were given that opportunity. And if they were given that opportunity, they would have taken advantage. And because they see that you have that opportunity, they'll say, hey, take the opportunity to get yourself educated, baby. And it is hard. I am a black female living in a country that does not value me. I am a black cisgender woman, educated. Aunt, cousin. Okay? Those are all the roles that I play in life. So, but I also am a resident of a country that does not value me because I am a black woman. And I know this. And because I know this, I know that I have to go out and I have to educate myself. Okay? And so I know what, if I don't have an education, where my life could be. And that is my motivation to make sure that I have everything that I have. Okay? My desire to have every degree in this country that is allowable is also my motivation. I knew at 8 years old I was going to have a doctorate at some point when I was an adult. That was my goal. And I acquired that goal and is your choice. Don't create a meme. I went to school for 4 years to work on a computer science degree and now I'm flipping hamburgers. Your choice on the back end was the result of the wrong choice you made on the front end. Okay? Let's be mature and own up to our decisions that we make. So, return on investment. You have to sit down and think about what is best for you and make your life plan based on what is best for you, with the, you know, factoring in the advice from others, but you have to consider the source. Is a person that is giving you all of this advice, what have they done with their lives? Or if they were given the opportunity, would they have made the decision that they're telling you to make? I see a lot of people all the time tell me, you know, what's the point of getting a doctorate? There are too many people with doctorates. Okay, fine. But guess what? There are also a lot of people with going on my back. Okay? So you have to figure out how important and valuable an education is to you and what you're going to do with that education that you want to further your life and have a career versus just having a job. So return on investment is very important, and you can't just look at it as financial. This is a time investment. This is a sacrifice investment. This is a what do you want to do investment, because you're investing so much in yourself. And I tell people all the time, I have a buttload of student loans, but that return on investment of me doing good for myself is all that matters. It was worth every penny of it. We go out and spend money on Nikes and Michael Kors and all of these different things, making them rich, but are you willing to spend that same amount of money on yourself, improving on yourself? Okay? That may not, you can work at the post office and they don't require degrees at all. You just have to pass the postal service test, and then you work there and you promote within. Okay? You may not even need a certification. You may not even need a degree. Most often, bottom line, most often you're going to need a certification if, bottom line. But there are several career fields that neither are needed. You can go out and be a postal carrier, and if you love your job, that is your career. And guess what? A degree nor certification were needed. So you have to know what you want to do with your life, and when you figure out what you want to do with your life and a career, then you research what is needed educationally, if something is needed at all. Okay? So is it even needed? It may not be. But if it is, which one do you need? How much is it going to cost? And do you feel that when it's all said and done, was it a good return on investment? For some, they have a college bachelor's and a master's, but they may not need a PhD, because in the field or the position that they're currently in, the highest level of educational attainment I am going to need based on the career plan that I have. Ultimate goal. And when you figure that out, you go out and research what's the educational attainment needed to get to that level. That will tell you whether or not you need a degree, a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate, or even just an associate. Yes, it takes time. It takes thought. Okay? And then once again, take advice, but take that advice, but it needs to be here or here, and this is advice. High position that you are striving to attain, because then you can take their advice and give it a little value over yours, because they have been there. They've done what you are trying to embark upon. They've already walked those steps. So yeah, you can take their opinion and give it a little more value maybe over yours, because they have done what you have done and you are listening to them, and so you know kind of what needs to happen. But if you're taking advice from somebody that has done nothing with their lives, you can't see they are no more better today than they were 5-10 years ago when you met them, then you need to take that with a grain of salt, because somebody can't tell you what to do if they have not embarked on something themselves. Okay? But like I said, that's different from grandma, grandpa, mom, or dad, who were not possibly given the able to do, our parents, when I was growing up, and I do the same thing with my daughter, I want better for poor, or couldn't go to school, didn't have clothes. I had a wonderful life, but I still want my daughter more by way of extrinsic rewards. Remember, those things are attained outside. I want her to intrinsically have more and do more for herself than even what I've done for myself. I have a doctorate. I want her to get a doctorate. I'm laying the seed for my daughter and my grandkids or whatever to carry on from where I laid that foundation. So I laid that foundation of a doctorate. I expect everybody in my family here forward to have at least a doctorate. At least. We set the foundation for people to rise from our seed. We're supposed to show the younger generations rise. And you rise by seeing the people before you rise. Or they push you to rise because where they currently are sense of worth is only going to come from the decisions that you make as for a career. You have to have a career of some kind. Where are you gonna make money from? Legally. Okay? So certification or a degree, which one is needed? Is either needed at all. Once you determine that, figure out where you want to go professionally, research the educational attainment that is needed to get to that point, and determine whether or not you feel that's going to be a return on investment. So you're not someone on the internet in another 10, 12 years saying, I spent 10 years in pre-medical school and now I'm flipping burgers and hamburgers at McDonald's. That was your choice. That was the wrong decisions that you made up front, and you don't want to do that. Make sure that you calculate your steps in your life. People to rise. Okay, so I hope that I have helped you today to understand and figure out and determine whether or not you even need a degree or certification, and if you do, which one you need, how to determine the cost. Sit down and research, figure out your life plan. Everything has calculated steps to it. Okay, so if there's any questions that you have for me, you can always email me at 800-EDUCATOR-BRIDGET@TICommunities.com. 800-EDUCATOR-BRIDGET, all one word, and Bridget is spelled B-R-I-D as in dog, G-E-T-T-E. 800-EDUCATOR-BRIDGET@TICommunities.com. And if you know me, you know where to find me. But I hope that I have been of help to you today, have provided you with some information. And next week, I think, what are we discussing next week? Let me find out. I got a couple of minutes. Let me see what is my topic for next week. My topic for next week is family engagement. Oh, that's going to be fun. We're going to start the family engagement series and servant leadership. The education industry and how it helps our kids. In other words, from a parent's perspective. So family engagement from a parent's perspective, what family engagement is, how it pertains to the education industry, and what we should expect as parents, or you as parents, either way. So I want to say thank you for today. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go out and do some positive with yourself. And if you haven't figured it out already, sit down and take the information that I provided to you and use that to help you come up with a life plan. We're not going to be going to school for 4 years and working as a DJ, okay? We're going to go to school for 4 years, and we're going to come out with something that we can actually go into that industry and do something with, okay? Love you guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.